this box could be the most comfortable shoe and best everyday shoe on the planet, if we took Nike's word for it, but that is definitely not what we're doing. You see, last year I started my mission to find the best, most comfortable everyday sneaker, and honestly the Nike Pegasus 41 was pretty much it until the Adidas Evo SL dropped. Now that's been my go-to for runs, everyday casual wear, running errands, going to the gym, and I have been loving them ever since I got them. But today we have the insanely hyped up Nike Pegasus Premium with the world's first sculpted Air Zoom unit, a triple stack of Nike's most premium cushioning technologies. So surely this has to be the best, right? Easily just blow my $130 Adidas Evos out the water. Well, that's what we're going to find out today. I've been wearing these around, I've ran in them, worked out in them, side by side, tested them, and I've definitely got some thoughts. So first off, let me answer a couple questions that a lot of people had about this pair of shoes. So official release date, these dropped on January the 30th. Now this was after a very long tease by Nike. They initially showed these things off like over a year ago, which means obviously Nike wanted to get as much hype and attention towards this sneaker as possible. Now sizing wise, I actually found these ran a little bit big. I went with my true to size and I feel like I would have been better if I went a half size down. I had a very similar experience with the Pegasus Plus. Those felt slightly roomy in the toe box, although I went true to size with the Pegasus 41s and those fit perfect. Now this shoe is a big deal for Nike for multiple different reasons. Obviously they've been struggling a little bit since last year. Everybody talking about their lack of innovation and their stock price plummeting. This is supposed to be the shoe that answers their innovation issues, or at least is part of their return to greatness. This is actually part of their brand new revamped running shoe lineup. They have 3 new categories for their 3 different models. The Structure for supportive cushioning, Pegasus for responsive, and Vomero for max cushioning. Now in each of these there's 3 different tiers, this being at the top, the premium version. And of course Nike doesn't just call a pair of shoes premium without coming for your pennies.
Hello! I like money!
These retail at a whopping $210. Now that's roughly double the price of the Pegasus 41 that you can find online. I know they retail for $140, but it's pretty easy to find them on sale now for like $100, $110. So are these even worth that retail price? Well, to actually answer that question, it's a little bit more subjective because this is such a unique pair of shoes. They really don't fit the typical running shoe blueprint. It almost seems like a little bit more of a niche shoe that I truly believe a lot of people are going to kind of hybrid as both a running shoe and something that they're just going to walk around casually in. If you're a serious runner and truly want the best that Nike has to offer, you're probably going to opt for either the Vaporfly 3 or the Alphafly 3. Granted, those are more expensive, but they are a lot more strictly focused on just running. And another big reason that I think is going to turn a lot of serious runners off about this pair of shoes has to be the weight. For a size men's 10, these are a whopping 325 grams. If you compare that to the Nike Vaporfly 3, those are just 200 grams. So yeah, these are definitely one of the heavier shoes that you can find, like not just throughout Nike's lineup, but almost for any running shoe in this category. And again, the weight of a pair of shoes is a pretty big deal for serious runners. But for casuals, people who are just gonna, run in this pair of shoes, but, walk around every single day in casually, you're not gonna notice that weight difference. In fact, these feel very light compared to probably a lot of people's typical running shoes. And again, I think that's where these really do excel. They're very good looking. I know that's also somewhat subjective, but they are designed very well. And this striking line of air that runs through the middle of the midsole is, you gotta say, it looks pretty cool. So I think wearing them around as a hybrid runner or just casually as an everyday pair of shoes, I think this is definitely more of a compelling option. Now, one of the biggest things that everybody is talking about with this pair of shoes is the triple stack midsole. 3 different cushioning technologies, all of Nike's most premium tech. So on the top, you've got Zoom X, in the middle, you've got the Air Zoom unit, and on the bottom, you've got React X. And it feels pretty damn incredible on foot. I think the closest comparison that I could give you to this pair of shoes feeling like walking around in would be the Nike Invincible Run 3. Those being made of just solid Zoom X had a really unique feel where it was like really springy and bouncy, almost like a trampoline feel. And that's kind of what this feels like, just way more. Now that definitely is thanks links to the Zoom X that you find right underneath your foot, but for the most part, where that springiness comes from is definitely going to be the Air Zoom unit. And what's different about the Air unit that you find on this pair of shoes compared to what we typically see a Air unit like this, it's usually in lifestyle shoes. This is the first one that's actually sculpted to the shape of your foot. So it actually, you know, curves around here. It's contoured to your feet. Whereas like the ones we see in like the Air Max 2.5, for example, that's just flat. Now, obviously this being an Air Zoom unit and not just an Air unit, there's a difference there. You've got these stretched fibers attached to the top and the bottom of the unit. So when you step down, the fibers compress to absorb impact and then quickly spring back, giving you extra energy with each step. So unlike regular foam that kind of absorbs impact, these do have that kind of snapback effect. Now, right at the bottom, you have React X, which isn't just thrown in there. It's definitely playing a purpose, and that's because React X is typically a little bit firmer, which you can actually feel if you press down. And that's where a lot of the stability for this pair of shoes comes in. But there is only so much you can do to stabilize a pair of shoes with a stack of foam that is 45 millimeters. It's a very tall stack, and I guess because you're having 3 different technologies, there's a little bit of wobbling going on, so I wouldn't characterize these as the most stable of shoes. So yeah, overall, midsole feels great underfoot. It definitely is over-engineered. I mean, you could make the argument that Nike's just throwing their top-tier cushioning in here, but it is definitely well thought out. Now, up top, you do have a pretty nice upper. It's comprised of a lot of different looking textures and different weaves of this fabric. Breathability is definitely not going to be an issue. You can see the toe box has a really thin mesh with a bunch of holes in it. You got even bigger holes around the medial and lateral side of the shoe. And they also added holes to the top of the tongue, which is something that you don't often see, but yeah, this is definitely a breathable pair of shoes. The tongue and the heel area do have a really solid amount of padding for a pair of running shoes. Usually they try and reduce weight as much as possible, which leads to a very thin feeling material that can often rub your ankles. That is not the case here. Obviously, they weren't too worried about the weight of these. In a direct comparison to the Invincible Run 3s, I way prefer this. In fact, the Invincible Run 3s had a very thin little ankle area that actually gave me a couple issues with rubbing. Now, while we're on the upper, I guess we'll talk about how you're going to become a walking billboard for Nike if you do rock these things. There's a lot of logos. I guess it's kind of par for the course for Nike, but yeah, you've got a huge reflective Nike swoosh around the side, a couple metallic ones on the side and around the back, huge Air Zoom text woven into the material on the medial side, more branding on the tongue, and then of course all of the labeling for the cushioning like React X and Nike Zoom and all of that. Overall, this is quite an exciting pair of shoes, just for the sheer fact of this wild midsole. I never thought I would see Nike combine this stack of technology in here, and it is really, really comfortable. I think they did a great job with it. It's super good looking. I love the design. So basically, if you're asking me if this is a good shoe, yes. But I think for most people, I would most likely recommend the Pegasus 41 or the Pegasus Plus or Turbo. Those are kind of like the perfect everydays or, you know, just casual running shoes. I think for the price, those are great recommendations if you're on a budget. But if you are someone who does have a little bit of extra money to spend, you're not on a budget, you want max cushioning with an insanely bouncy feel underfoot, nothing really beats this. Maybe you had or were on the market potentially considering purchasing the Nike Invincible Run 3. These are definitely the better option. They retail at the same price, and I would pick these any day of the week. They look better, they feel better on foot, they feel better thought out, maybe not as stable, but still just the superior option. It's a great upgrade from the Invincible Run 3. But the real question is, are these going to be replacing my Adidas Evo SLs and become my new favorite everyday shoe for comfort? Now, the really interesting thing about this little test to see if I'm going to replace these with these is that we're not just going to be seeing what I think, but there's someone in the exact same situation as me, Young Ning. Become quite a regular on this channel. Woo! Damn, those are light. How about you try these bad boys on? So there's a lot of woo!
Look like alien feet.
Especially for running shoes. We're both the exact same size. We both own this pair of shoes, the Evo SL. And now,
it's gonna take a lot to find me a replacement, because these, probably, out of all the suggestions, all the shoes that you bought me, these ones are the best.
Your favorite?
Man.
It's my favorite too. All right, you actually haven't even seen these before.
Man, I think they're definitely heavier. Alright, let me try them on, eh?
Well, before you put your feet into them, I think one of the most important things that you would be deciding as a consumer is the price tag. $130 versus $210.
That's crazy.
So just keep that in mind as you put them on. Chuck them on and see what you think.
Do I get 2?
Huh?
Do I get 2?
Oh, yeah, okay, fine.
Adidas ones, they slip in and just mold. Those do too. Damn! Yeah, woo! I didn't expect that, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I've already ran in both of them. I already know what I'm gonna say at the end of this, which one I'm picking, but I want him to kind of see, we want to get his opinion too. It's a very different experience.
Ooh. I can feel it's a lot heavier. I can feel like it isn't as
You can
as
immediately
springy. Yeah, immediately. I can feel the weight. It's gotta be a bridge. Yeah, night and day. Night and day. This isn't even close. I wish I could tell you it was close, but it isn't.
Final verdict time. Before I say mine, let's hear yours. Which one would you pick? Just straight up. You know the price tag, you know how they feel. Which one would you pick?
Adidas by a mile.
When I first tried them, when I had a similar thing, I was like, yeah, definitely Evos. But I do think these are very good looking. And like for a hybrid, like for my everyday use, I might opt for the Nikes, but I think the price is what immediately makes me go back to the Evos. So for me, sticking with the Evos, I think 210 is just, it's insane.
And these actually go really hard with a pair of like baggy long trousers.
Yeah.
So you can wear them lifestyle too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well there you have it.